The Gemara notes, let us say that they disagree about this. All right, Berakhot 23a. One sage held that, as a rule, if one interpreted his prayer and delayed continuing his prayer for an interval sufficient to complete the entire prayer, he returns to the beginning of the prayer. And one sage held he returns to the place in the prayer where he stopped. Rejecting this possibility, Rav Ashi said, if that was the point of their dispute, they should not have simply issued a ruling in a case if he delayed. They should have also addressed a case if he did not delay, as well as discussing the length of the delay. Rather, everyone, both Rav Hizda and Rav Hamnuna, agrees that if one delayed continuing his prayer for an interval sufficient to complete the entire prayer, he returns to the beginning of the prayer. And there, in the dispute under discussion, they disagreed with regard to one who did not delay that long. The dispute deals with his particular predicament. As one sage held, he is a man who is disqualified and unfit, and his prayer is not a valid prayer. Therefore, he must repeat it in its entirety. And one sage held, he is a man who is fit, and his prayer is a valid prayer. The sages taught in a Berakhot, one who needs to relieve himself may not pray, and if he prayed, his prayer is an abomination. Rav Zevid, and some say Rav Yehuda, said, in qualifying this statement, they only taught this halakha in a case where one cannot restrain himself. But if he can restrain himself, his prayer is a valid prayer, as he is not tarnished by his need to relieve himself. The Gemara asks, and for how long must he be able to restrain himself? Rav Sheshet said, for as long as it takes to walk one parasang. Some teach this halakha directly on what was taught in the Berakhot. In what case is this statement said? Where he is unable to restrain himself. But if he is able to restrain himself, his prayer is a valid prayer. And for how long? Rav Zevid said, for as long as it takes to walk one parasang. Rabbi Shmuel bar Naamani said that Rabbi Yonatan said, one who needs to relieve himself may not pray, because it is stated, prepare to greet your God, O Israel. Amos 4:12. Prepare to meet your God, O Israel. Amos 4:12. And one must clear his mind of all distractions to prepare to receive the Lord during prayer. In this context, the Gemara cites an additional statement, which Rabbi Shmuel bar Naamani said that Rabbi Yonatan said, what is the meaning of that which is written, guard your foot when you go to the house of God, and prepare to listen? It is better than when fools offer sacrifices, as they know not to do evil. Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 17. It means, when you enter the house of the Lord, guard yourself from transgression, and if you commit a transgression, bring a sacrifice before me in atonement. The verse continues, and draw near and listen to the words of the wise. Rava said, be prepared to hearken to the words of the wise, who, If they commit a transgression, they bring a sacrifice and repent. He interprets the next part of the verse. It is better than when fools give sacrifices, that one should not act like the fools who commit a transgression and bring a sacrifice but do not repent. Regarding the end of the verse, as they know not to do evil, the Gemara asks, if so, they are righteous. Rather, it must be understood, do not be like the fools who commit a transgression and bring a sacrifice, but are unaware whether they are bringing it as a thanks offering for the good or as an offering of atonement for the evil. This is the meaning of the verse. As they know not to do evil, they know not if and when their actions are evil. With regard to those individuals, the Holy One, blessed be He, said, they cannot distinguish between good and evil, and yet they bring a sacrifice before me. Rav Ashi, and some say Rabbi Hanina, Bar Papa said, mind your orifices when you stand before me in prayer. The sages taught, one who enters a bathroom must remove his phylacteries at a distance of 4 cubits and enter. Rav Aha bar Rav Huna said that Rav Sheshet said, this was only taught with regard to one entering a regular bathroom, but one who enters a makeshift bathroom may remove his phylacteries and defecate immediately. But when one exits from a makeshift bathroom, he must distance himself 4 cubits before donning his phylacteries, because he has now rendered that place a regular bathroom. A dilemma was raised before the sages in the yeshiva. What is the halakha? May one enter a regular bathroom wearing his phylacteries in order to urinate? The sages disagreed. Ravina permitted to do so, while Rav Ada bar Matana prohibited it. They came and asked this of Rava. He said to them, it is forbidden because we are concerned lest he will come to defecate with them still on. Others say that this halakha is because we are concerned that, since he is already in the bathroom, he might forget that his phylacteries are on his head and will break wind with them still on him. It was taught in another Bereta, one who enters a regular bathroom must remove his phylacteries at a distance of 4 cubits. Place them in the window in the wall of the bathroom adjacent to the public domain, and then enter. And when he exits, he must distance himself 4 cubits before donning them. This is the statement of Beit Shammai. Beit Hillel say, he must remove his phylacteries, but he holds them in his hand and enters. Rabbi Akiva says, he holds them in his garment and enters. The Gemara wonders, does it enter your mind to say in his garment? There is room for concern because sometimes he forgets them and they fall. Rather say he holds them with his garment and in his hand and enters the bathroom. He holds the phylacteries in his hand and covers it with the garment. It was established in the Bereta, and if there is room to place them, he places them in the holes adjacent to the bathroom. But he does not place them in the holes adjacent to the public domain, lest the phylacteries will be taken by passerby and he will come to be suspect. And an incident occurred involving a student who placed his phylacteries in the holes adjacent to the public domain, and a prostitute passed by and took the phylacteries. She came to the study hall and said, "See what so-and-so gave me as my payment." When that student heard this, he ascended to the rooftop and fell and died. At that moment they instituted that one should hold them with his garment and in his hand, and enter to avoid situations of that kind. The sages taught in a Berakhot on this topic. At first, they would place the phylacteries in the holes adjacent to the bathroom, and mice would come and take them or gnaw upon them. Therefore, they instituted that they should place them in the holes adjacent to the public domain, where there were no mice. However, passers-by would come and take the phylacteries. Ultimately, they instituted that one should hold the phylacteries in his hand and enter. On this topic, Rabbi Measha, son of Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi, said, "The halakha in this case is that one rolls up the phylacteries in their straps like a scroll, and holds them in his hand opposite his heart." Rav Yosef bar Manyumi said that Rav Naaman said, "This is provided that the strap of the phylacteries does not emerge more than a handbreadth below his hand." Rabbi Yaakov bar Aha said that Rabbi Zierah said, "It was only taught that one rolls up his phylacteries when there is still time left in the day to don them. If there is not time left in the day to don them before nightfall, when phylacteries are not donned, he makes a one-handbreadth pouch of sorts for them, and he places them in it." Similarly, Rabbi bar Hana said that Rabbi Yohanan said, "During the day one rolls up the phylacteries like a scroll and places them in his hand opposite his heart. And at night he makes a one-handbreadth pouch of sorts for them, and he places them in it." Abbay said, "They only taught that it must be a one-handbreadth pouch with regard to a vessel, that is the phylacteries' regular vessel. But in a vessel that is not their regular vessel, he may place the phylacteries in it, even if it is less than a handbreadth." Mar Zutra and, some say, Rav Ashi said as proof for that distinction, "The laws of impurity state that only a space of at least a handbreadth can serve as a barrier to prevent the spread of impurity imparted by a corpse. Nevertheless, small sealed vessels less than a handbreadth in size protect their contents from ritual impurity, even if they are inside a tent over a corpse. This proves that even a space smaller than a handbreadth can serve as a barrier before impurity." Rabbi bar Hana said, "When we would walk after Rabbi Yohanan, we would see that when he sought to enter the bathroom while holding a book of Agadah, he would give it to us. When he was holding phylacteries, he would not give them to us, as he said, since the sages permitted to hold them."